No, it's just been a couple days, but what was the overall takeaway from Saturday, specifically the way the defense played?
Man, it was great just seeing our guys fly around and just reestablish the turnovers that we've been missing and, the stuff that BV's been talking about, that, just keep doing our job, keep, flying to the ball. And, it all paid off in the end, seeing it come in, play like that, how it did to us in that game is such a big moment in the season for us. I feel like it just all, just paid its time.
How big of a sense of pride was just it felt like you guys on special teams were clean, impactful across the board in every special teams unit?
Yeah, how BB says the strength of this team is the team, and that's what we try to live by. Whatever you get a chance, opportunity to go out there, and, represent the name on the front and the back, go out there and do it to your best ability.
Along those lines, I kind of asked Sammy the same thing, but for you personally, you've played a lot on special teams. Just how much pride do you take in being a part of that unit and the impact it's had this year?
Big. I've learned, being in high school and just now in college, just learning that, play for that senior that doesn't have another year, that doesn't have another opportunity, just come back home and play in front of the fans again, play at Bama that one last time. You never know the impactful play that you could have and, the memory that can impact the senior. That's, it's his last chance. So that's all I'd be thinking about out there and playing for my older guys that don't get another chance to do it.
Jaydan, which ways have you grown the most since being here, and then what ways has this season really impacted you?
Definitely. Sorry, what did you say at the end?
How has this season also impacted your outlook individually?
Oh, yes,
Helped
sir.
you grow the most?
Just definitely growing a lot of mentally here. Just what BB does, and physically just challenge us. And I feel like like I said, Smitty challenged me physically every day. Trying to get stronger in the weight room. That's one thing big for me. Always trying to get bigger. And then, like I said, from BB's perspective, just have the mental aspect of practice. It's hard. It's not easy going. 20 periods on a Tuesday every single week. A lot of schools aren't doing that. And just getting that mental toughness to go out there and just, fight through every single game that, it's easier than the practices.
What has it been like putting in that work and putting in that growth and then taking some of the stages, playing in some of the games that you've played in? What has that meant to you?
A lot, like I told him, I want to impact the older guys that don't have another chance, just play my heart out for them, just because I know when it's my turn to be a senior, we're going to have to trust a guy, that's maybe a sophomore or a freshman, and I just want to be in that same role that I can trust that guy and, I can relate to him and understand that, like, hey, I did it for the older guy. I hope you can do that for me and play your heart out, and they can understand it. Coach can even, call me and say, hey, he didn't have the biggest role, freshman or sophomore year, but, he was out there making plays, whoop to whoop, just to, put a perspective into a young guy's mind that, you never know when your time is going to come. Just be ready for it.
Jaydan, I know this time last year you lost a tight one to Missouri. Has this week, has something like that been used as a motivating factor for y'all this week heading into this game?
Every week is just a 1-0 mentality with us. It's just going out here handling the business. Go through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Just trying to win today, win Monday. So not really focused on Missouri, just focused on winning Monday right now, so that we can beat them on Saturday.
After two big-time road wins, how do you balance carrying the confidence forward as a group while also not getting too high to make sure that you're doing everything you need to do that you did in the lead up to those two games to get the same results in these last two?
Yes, sir. Like I said, just being where my feet is, being where Monday's at. Don't get too ahead of ourselves. The playoffs or whatever you want to put in front of us is there, but, we got to be at Monday right now versus Mizzou. So that's what I'm focused on, winning my Monday.
Jaydan, last week, Eli was saying that you guys kind of embrace being villains, especially like on the road. I've been asking a few of the guys this, but do you have a favorite villain character, like in pop culture anywhere?
Villain? I'd definitely probably say Joker. Yeah.
Popular answer. Why the Joker?
Just sort of like the catchphrases. I remember everybody used to be posting them, in high school before the games or something, stuff like that.
Does the Joker Here We Go gift get a lot of run in the team group chat?
But nah, not really.
You forced that fumble in that game, but also obviously knowing Eli and Peyton as long as you have. What was it like for the three of y'all to make those caliber of plays in that game?
Big, I feel like, but live recruiting is so hard at Bama. It just felt like, at least for me, talking to him pregame and Coach Hall, like, just felt like a full circle moment for me at least. That was one of my first offers I had, and Bama at the time with Nick Saban, and, it was just a big moment for me, I would say. And so going to play there and, being with my guys and just with Eli and just like everything that we've been through just to get to that moment, it was just a good moment to be in and, look around the crowd in that fourth quarter while they're singing and just embracing it and just, being in the moment.
Do you practice that punch when you force it out, or does that kind of come naturally?
Nah, that's practice every week. Every Tuesday, every Tanoga Tuesday, we practicing that punch.
Jaydan, last few weeks you guys embraced that